Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dynasty Hoops Show. I'm Brad.
I'm Craig.
And we are continuing on our NBA team previews today. We are going to be talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs have a very interesting roster. They're very focused on developing some young talent that they have, and we're going to talk about kind of what we think there are the best case scenarios for them, the worst case scenarios, and some things that may or may not play out during the season.
Along with having some interesting young players, it also comes with having some interesting problems. First and foremost, they lost J.R. Smith, David Nwaba, and Cameron Payne. Not a big deal, but they still have Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson on their roster. I think one of the big problems they have there is that those guys really don't fit the mold of what they're trying to do going forward for the future. Kevin Love, is he going to get traded?
I think he'll get traded. I don't see how he's on this team. I don't know if it'll be next summer or if it'll be at the All-Star break or by the trade deadline, but he is going to be traded. I don't know to whom. I don't know for what. I don't know what his value is around the NBA, but he's still a really good player who is an incredible rebounder, an incredible outlet passer, who is injury prone.
Why do you want to bring him in if he is not being productive, if he doesn't show it on the court?
Problem is he just still has 4 years left on his contract and a lot of money. So that makes it really tough. I think if he can play 65, 70 games this year, that's going to really help his cause. There are teams out there like Portland that seem just like a natural fit for him, for his skill set and what he does. And I think that they're going to come calling. Now the question is, what do the Cavs want for him? Are they going to look for draft picks? Are they going to look for young players? Or are they just looking to get off of his contract?
And if they don't trade him and he is playing, what does that do for the development of the young guys that they have on their team?
Well, I mean, they don't really have any power forward prospects or center prospects on their team. Most of their young talent is along the guard line. So, I mean, let's talk about the guard line. What do you like about it? What are you looking forward to? What do you think they can do this season?
I'm sure this isn't news to anybody else who's been following the NBA, but they're trying to replicate the Portland Trailblazers of the East. I'm not really sold on that concept. You have to have a multi-year all-star, superstar even, like Damian Lillard to do that. And they don't have a young guy on their team that I feel like fits that mold. At least not yet. They haven't shown that to me. Collin Sexton was really good last year, in my opinion.
I mean, it's really hard to say. They're both really young. Collin Sexton's still 20, maybe. Darius Garland's 19. Darius Garland's a rookie who played 7 games in college. Collin Sexton is a rookie after playing, or a second-year guy after playing 1 year at Alabama. So can they do it? Yeah. Collin Sexton surprised a lot of people with his shooting last year. He had a really good rookie season. He shot lights out, and Darius Garland is known as a shooter. His range in college, I mean, in the 7 games he played, was awesome. But in high school, he could shoot from anywhere all over the court. His range was not quite Steph range, but pretty close in terms of how he could really stretch the floor. And I think that there are some shades of CJ McCollum in his game. I really think that they're going to have to play together. It's going to take a lot for that to work out the way that it had for somebody like Portland. I mean, Damian Lillard's first team All-NBA. CJ McCollum hasn't made an All-Star team, but he is, probably the top 30 player at worst in the NBA.
And playing in the West, it's hard to make that a knock on him anyway.
Can that happen for them down the line? Sure. We just have to find out, and I think that this season is going to be about playing them as much as possible to see what they can do.
And if it does happen, I'm more than happy to eat crow, and bravo to the Cleveland Cavaliers for seeing something that most other teams in the NBA did not see happening. I guess we just have to watch the season and see.
Yeah, and another guy I really like on their team is Cedi Osman. I think he's really talented. He has a lot of skill. He's a good shooter. He can rebound. He's a pretty good defender. I mean, he's playing the World Cup right now. He's playing really well.
So one of the problems that I see with the Cleveland Cavaliers is outside of the players that we've mentioned, they don't have anybody else who just pops off the page for you.
Yeah, they're definitely building for the future, and they're kind of trying to recover post-LeBron. I mean, one of the downsides of having LeBron on your team is usually the few years after that are a little rough. But they're doing a good job of trying to find some foundational pieces and seeing what they have there. And they've done a good job of trying to acquire assets, like when they traded Kyle Korver last year to stockpile draft pick to see what they've got. I really like some of their draft picks this year. Dylan Windler looks really good. He's got some Joe Ingles to his game. I really think that Kevin Porter Jr. can be great. There are some question marks regarding his personality and some other things, but the dude's got game. I would not be surprised if either one of those guys pans out. So having talked about that a little bit, Craig, what do you think is their best case scenario this year?
Well, we've kind of hit on that already, is that we see Collin Sexton and Darius Garland get a chemistry that works for them, much like CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, and that those guys become, I'm not going to say a top 5 backcourt in the NBA because that's a tall order right now. But if they start showing flashes of becoming a top 5 backcourt in the future NBA, I think that's best case scenario for them.
Yeah, I agree. Just seeing what they've got with their young guys and seeing Darius Garland or Collin Sexton, or preferably both, showing signs of being future foundational pieces. What about their worst case scenario?
They don't trade Kevin Love. I think, don't get me wrong, I actually really like Kevin Love as a player and as a person too. I think he's pretty good off the court. But that's besides the point. The longer you're holding on to that contract, the worse it's going to get, and the longer he's going to be on your team. And at some point, you're going to have to start paying your younger guys, and it's going to be really hard to do when you've got that contract on your books. And this year is probably one of the few years where you can get rid of Kevin Love without having to include a draft pick.
Yeah, worst case, I would agree with that. I also think worst case is playing Tristan Thompson too much. You've got to see what you have in your young guys. I mean, Kevin Love's 31, Tristan Thompson's 28. Collin Sexton and Darius Garland are early 20s, still in their teens. So those timelines don't jive at all. Seeing if you can find a home for those guys is going to be their priority. And if they don't find a home for either of them, that's going to make this season really tough.
Yeah, and in either scenario, they're more than likely not making the playoffs. In fact, I would put it at 99.5% not making the playoffs. 0.5. No offense, Cleveland fans. But it's just it's the team that you guys have right now.
You guys have 2016. That was one of the greatest finals performances anybody will ever see. And you're going to rebuild, and you've got the Browns. The Browns are going to be awesome this year. So things are okay by the lake. So thanks for watching today. Feel free to give us a like, tell us what you liked, tell us what you didn't like. We love comments, we love feedback. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so that we can alert you when new videos are dropped. And thanks for watching.